I know. Could our council members please take their seats? We have a quorum. I was getting worried about you. Mine won't work either. But I have I still have the door opener. I had to get a new one. Yeah, because mine flew off my visor. Because I have the one for my car on my side and the one for the downstairs on the other side. Will council members please take their seats so we can begin the meeting? This video's been up 30 minutes of them crossing the bridge, and it's got 2.4 thousand comments already. What are they doing? So there's these two guys from Britain who are from Britain. One's actually from Ireland, one's from England, and they are visiting Michigan in the winter because they always hear about Michigan winters. So they're here now, and they've been up the West Coast. Now they're going up into the UP. So this is the first time they've gone over the Mackinac Bridge. They haven't seen it. Like when they oh, they're so fun. The only problem is that they went tubing on Boyne Mountain, and he fell off, and he's up his back. He ended up in the ER, he had an MRI or a CAT scan, and he's on drugs and back brace, and he's. So you just taken that off purpose because I wanted to go to Boyne Mountain so bad. Well, the other guy didn't, but. I don't know. I keep asking for them to get their butts up here. I know we're live. I know. Thank you. We're still waiting for council people to take their seats so that we can start the meeting. Everybody does. I need my I kept saying, come sit down. I couldn't get her sitting down either. Yeah. I mean, you have a car? We do. Here we go. As soon as. Madam Clerk, would you like to establish quorum with roll call? at 5:23.
Okay, 5:23. And we will redo the roll call. Mr. Alamin?
Present.
Dr. Lewis is not in. Ms. Johnson?
Present.
Ms. Priestley?
Present.
Ms. Winfrey Carter?
Present.
Ms. Burns is not in. Ms. Mashat? Mr. Pfeiffer is not in. Mr. Jarrett is not in. You have 5 members present.
We have 5 members present. Are there any, reading of disorderly persons, city code subsection. Any person that persists in disrupting this meeting will be in violation of Flint City Code Section 3110, disorderly conduct, assault and battery, and disorderly persons, and will be subject to arrest for misdemeanor. Any person who prevents the peaceful and orderly conduct of any meeting will be given 1 warning. If they persist in disrupting that meeting, that individual will be subject to arrest. Violators will be removed from the meetings. Are there any requests for agenda changes or additions? Any requests? Third time's charm. Any requests? Seeing none, it's now time for public comment. Members of the public who wish to address the city council or its committees must register before the meeting begins. A box will be placed at the entrance to the council chambers for collection of registrations. No additional speakers or slips will be accepted after the meeting begins. Members of the public shall have no more than 3 minutes per speaker during public comment, with only 1 speaking opportunity per speaker. Madam Clerk, who is our first speaker?
First speaker is R.L. Mitchell.
Hello. Now it's on. Hello, my name is Ariel Mitchell, and I wanted to address this situation about the last meeting we had, the accountability. I called myself going to the accountability meeting to talk about them peoples in the first ward that never show up on when it's time to get their monies, and they didn't show up. Even the first ward council meeting didn't show up. I mean, I went to the meeting was on the 2nd floor. And I went to the restroom on the 3rd floor. Had to use the restroom. A good thing I came out of there early. I wasn't finished using the restroom because eating all this food people giving to me. I came down on the 2nd floor. When I was going in, they was rushing to get out. That Bishop Jones' son, he said, hey, it's all over now. I said, what you mean, man? He said, we couldn't get a form. We had to, and I would have been locked up in the building if I wouldn't have hurry up and get up that toilet down, up and down the street. I would have been locked up in this building, fooling with them cameras and dealing with them 2 goon cops back there ready to pop off, kill somebody around here. Talking about, we call a darky in the building hanging around. There's a whole lot of hiding places in City Hall, but they'll get Snoopy. They bulldog. I mean, yeah, they ain't got no German Shepherds. And you do something to one of them things, they just like you say, you assaulted the officer, sir. And we're gonna have to do something to you, like they did on Mildred Street, not Mildred Street, on I can't think of that's a stress street. I went on after the hospital, shot the police dog, and they killed the boys for shooting the police dog because you shot an officer. And I can't think of the name anyway. And then I said, take me back in my hood on Holbrook Street, where your mama made them people wash them clothes. And he said, hey, sir, do you know Sheila Wales? I said, the woman who sang the man's struggling and Jesus came. I said, Angel in Bishop Jones Church. Ever since I heard that song, people be coming up to me asking me I ain't never went without money, and people asking me for money. They said, don't be giving them people, the clear man, no money, old tramps. But anyway, about this situation, and then I almost got homeless again, fooling around with the people's landlords They kicked me out of the coffee place like the Lakeshore. Gonna kick people out 2 days before Christmas. And they can't find them with a search warrant, but if somebody got an issue in your house, sir, we don't want you around. That's how you become homeless in Flint. I mean, stay tuned, America, and see how we deal with Flint. All this junk.
The next speaker is John Baker.
Good evening. How you doing? I'm coming to follow up from last week where I was complaining about the quality of the food in the stores. Mrs. Johnson did go out to a few of the stores and saw a little change, which I appreciate. I know that the power that you have as city council people are limited. It's just that I was ignorant to the fact of what you can and can't do. So now that I do know what your limits are, I would just ask that you continue to do as much as you can do. I've set a meeting up with the building city department. I have a meeting set up with Jack Hippie, who is planning and development. I have a meeting set up with MDARD to make these complaints because some of these grocery stores haven't been inspected since COVID. The first step is getting the building inspected because we can't have a health inspector come in until after that. That's what I'm told. Like I said, I'm still learning. I was asked to actually go into some of these stores and actually go and talk to the owners. But I'm just me, but I will do it. I'm going to do it. And to get them to make a change. One of the stores actually did make a change from the videos that I have been circulating. They emptied out the entire freezer. They just emptied it out. At least it's only fresh food. That's all I'm asking. I don't want to put these places out of business. I've had workers contact me from these grocery stores, just people who work there, cashiers and things. They're like, you're trying to take my job. I don't want anyone to lose their job. We're in a economic turmoil. I want everybody to have their homes and their jobs and all that stuff. But I'm just concerned about, being someone who has older people in their life and younger people with compromised immune systems. You don't have to be sick. You just have to be too young or over the age of 70 to be a bad piece of chicken or a bad piece of beef has caused the end of your life. That's what I'm concerned with. Yes, the quality and the taste, that's all nice. It doesn't have to be gourmet food. I just want it to be edible. Like I said, I want peace. I've done some homework and looked up, how things have gone in the past. I'm ready to do whatever needs to be done. I'll accept any help, Ms. Johnson so far, but I'm probably going to be needing to work with all of you. I appreciate it, and see you next time.
The next speaker is Michael Clack.
Good evening, Council. Michael Clack, Second Ward. To be honest, I don't even like coming down here, and I want to be clear about that. The last time I was here, I received a warning for simply sitting in the chamber wearing a blue shirt and eating trail mix. The time before that, there was an alleged brawl. Coming to City Council should not feel intimidating for residents who simply are trying to be heard. But here I am because the issues facing our city are too important to ignore. I want to address the recent reports of people freezing to death in our city. Last night, it was under 10 degrees. In weather like this, being without shelter is a life-threatening emergency. Yet right before the coldest part of the winter, the fire marshal reduced the number of people who are allowed to be in the warming center. The warming centers are restricted during extreme cold. People don't just disappear. They end up in abandoned buildings, cars are outside, and unfortunately, some don't survive. This is the time of year when our most vulnerable residents need more compassion, more empathy, and more support, and not less. Many of these individuals have mental issues, and some have just fallen on hard times. If city resources are strained, this is exactly what state-level assistance should be requested. Emergency funding and shelter support exist for moments like this. It just takes leadership to ask. And if there's $25 million for phantom organizations with no physical address or history with the IRS, then surely there's money somewhere to keep people from freezing to death in the city of Flint. My next concern is economic development. There are multiple corridors across this city that need investment, but today I'll only focus on one, Corona Road, also known as M21. This corridor has significant potential, yet it continues to be overlooked. There have already been multiple offers to purchase the Zimmerman building, but shows that investors see opportunity here. If the city invests in cleaning up that area and paired it with resources and help support the surrounding residents help the surrounding residents to maintain and improve their properties, it would create a major benefit for the entire corridor and for the city as a whole. Because M21 is a state road, it should be prioritized for infrastructure and development funding. With intentional collaboration between the city and state, this corridor could become far more attractive for business, job creation, and long-term growth, not just for outside interests, but for Flint residents as well. Finally, I want to address the $1,000 check that some residents are receiving for their property. $1,000 for most in the city felt like that was a slap in the face. At a time when inflation is at an all-time high, $1,000 doesn't seem to go very far. When the water has damaged hot water heaters, furnaces, dishwashers, washing machines, plumbing systems, and fixtures, these are not luxuries, these are necessities. Our lives and homes and dignity are worth more than $1,000. We need leadership that is willing to speak up for the masses and not simply go along to get along. And quite frankly, this city cannot afford 4 more years of non-action from this mayor and 2 more years of silence from our state representative. Thank you. Y'all have a nice day.
The next speaker is M. Young.
Good evening. Just following up on some issues that I brought up over the past couple of weeks. Following up to find out if anyone had an opportunity to speak with any of the people that received ARPA, to bring them here to say what they did, how it helped our community. Just looking for follow-up for each person. I know everybody knows somebody that has a business or what have you that received ARPA. I would like to know how well we did. Also, I would like to know for each ward, 1st through 9, what you guys did with the money you had for your ward and how it has helped your ward. So if we could get that information. I also want to speak again about the election. I want to please make sure that this election is done right and in order. We need to review the processes we have in place and implement new processes to help make sure that this is fair and equitable. Again, I suggest that we change the charter to say, if you want to run for office, you must, if you own your home, you must show your homestead taxes. We have a lot of residential problems that everybody is speaking of, and we need to resolve it. It shouldn't go on for years and years. I would also like to know if the portal has been updated with the right information. If the voters' registration has been reviewed for correctness, that we don't have people that have passed away that are still on the road to vote. We need this election to be right and fair. And again, to the people of the city of Flint, the people that are currently running for these new positions in council, mayor, what have you, look around. See if they've been actively involved prior to election season. If you're just now seeing them around, may not be the right person. All elected officials need to be engaged with the public. Help us out. Know what our issues are. Lastly, for Candace Mouchette, councilwoman in the 8th Ward, 7th. Is there any way that you can find out about us getting the interest from the water settlement? Be more vocal. help us. $1,000 was not enough. Help us out, get some more money. You can do it.
The next speaker is Rich Jones.
How y'all doing? That was a very good thing that she just said. See if y'all can get that interest geared toward. That's real good. Another thing that's been bothering me, I also want to give a salute to everybody in the city of Flint that has been aiding the homeless. There's a lot of efforts going out to give y'all a shout, much obliged for that. But let's just be real. We need to get a building, another building, and furnish it and be prepared next winter for this situation. We really do. Another thing that kind of been on my mind, because I just see a lot of people just doing stuff because they're running for office. And I ain't cool with it, but I understand it. But when this spring comes, let's do a 30-day cleanup. Me and Quincy, we did talk about this before all of the personal and individual and all the trolling and TikTok and stuff came into play. And what that is, because right now, I just talked to LaShawn about boarding up a house. And first thing came from her mouth is it our house? Is it the land bank house? And that's a problem when it comes to a whole lot of dumps. The city say land bank on it, land bank, the city say the city on it, and it just look a mess. But my solution is for 30 days, whenever it is garbage day, whatever is on the curve, it get picked up. Because I remember when we had the softball games at Burston, we would go up there and we would clean up after everybody went home. And we would set the garbage bags on the curve. But guess what the garbage truck did on garbage day? Rolled by the garbage bags. And it did that at a lot of homes that are now grass and dirt in the city of Flint. And some of them places, like that house across the street from Bryant School, looked horrible. It's no longer there. But I know y'all remember it was garbage from the curve all the way to the backyard. People just a dumping. So this year, maybe we can all work together. Get your cleanup crews, get it on the curb, work out something with the garbage company. Maybe put your our blight department out to pick up some of the curb. But let's clean our city up this summer. And that's also be prepared to help the homeless next winter. Thank you.
The final speaker for this meeting is Tanya Jones.
Good evening. My name is Tanya Jones. I be advocating for the opioid crisis and for homeless. First of all, my son is here. I hadn't seen him since December 23rd. God is good. There's no thanks to the Flint Police Department. I tried to do a missing person report, and Sergeant Walker told me that he's grown. That's a grown man. My son is autistic. He's a part of the opioid crisis, and if he go missing once a week, once a month, once a year, I'm looking for him. I have every right to do that. So I was told by the Flint Police Department that he's a grown man. So I just want to put that on record, but God brought my son home. He's home now. And I want to thank the council because it opened my eyes up to a lot of stuff that was going on in Flint. Right here, Chris is my newfound son, and he's part of the homeless. I found him in Ballinger Building next to Save-A-Lot, and this is my son now, and today is his birthday. God is good. His friend, K. Rich, froze in the building. So I just want to say that he's an awesome young man, and he's worth it. And when I say the opioid crisis, like I tell Leon, why did he take $150,000 when the opioid crisis is real? That $150,000 could have went to the homeless. I mean, I go out here and go feed them 3 days a week with the color of law. And my thing is, these people, these kids matter. I mean, mothers, Fathers, all of us need to get together. All these kids need somebody to protect them, need to be a voice. These people who are here talking about churches, churches, churches. My son was a member of Ebenezer. That's why it's personal when it comes to Miss Machette, because she knew my son when he was okay. My thing is, where's family? Where's churches when they come together when somebody fall off? It could be your child, it could be your cousin, it could be your auntie, it could even be you. So that's personal. You on council. So like LaShawn came down and reached down, we didn't have our difference, but she came down and spoke. You see my son sitting in this audience. So if you really cared about the people, you would acknowledge my son. Because like I said, my son matter, Chris matter. And I'm going out here tonight and tomorrow night. God give me the strength. I'm gonna keep on going. So you guys be blessed with the homeless lives matter, and opioid crisis is real. Take care.
Thank you. It is now time to count for council response. Council members may respond once to all public speakers, only after all public speakers have spoken. An individual council member's response shall be limited to 2 minutes. Is there anyone who'd like to do council response?
I'd like to speak.
Go ahead.
I already told Mr. Chris, happy birthday. It's a blessing to turn another year old. And to Rich Jones, I was talking about the boards of who can purchase the boards, if it's the city or if it's the county. But I have been reaching out to different businesses in our areas. We have a major problem over there on Webster, the trailer park. And we have a lot of residents that are complaining about that area over there, and they feel that they're left out. So I have reached out to the businesses on Webster and Dorn Highway, and I'm waiting for them to get back with me so we can see if we can get a massive, and we can get some center blocks and block off these areas to stop them from dumping in these trailer parks. Also, I went in there yesterday and I got caught in there by a guy that came in with a truck and a trailer. So it was kind of like terrifying. I was like, hey, I told him exactly who I was. But like I said, job is never done. I'm always looking for a way to make the third ward look better, and building up the morale in the city of Flint. And it needs everybody, like you said, we need a 30-day cleanse. And that's for the whole entire city. And if we can get people to donate us dumpsters and different things that they can do in the city, and get the businesses in our city to help and contribute back to the city of Flint, it would be great. But great ideas. And I'm looking forward to working with you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Go ahead.
Thank you. I do want to address a couple of different things that were said tonight. I do want to talk about with the freezing temperatures, which you are correct in the fact that I know that the city has designated 2 shelters. The only problem is they only run for a certain amount of time. So we do need to look at doing something long-term overnight, because on Friday and Saturday of this week, we will have negative 11 degrees. And so there will be a lot of people who will find themselves out in that weather. And so I'm hoping that there's something that we can do in the interim while we await figuring out a more long-term solution. But you are correct. I will ask around and ask some questions about if we have any plans for Friday and Saturday night with addressing the negative 11 degree weather. Water settlement interest money, done and done. I will ask, done and done. Another thing I want to address, there are, in addition to people being outside, we've also had some animals that have been left outside as well, some dogs that have unfortunately succumbed to some of the temperatures. We do have several ordinances that address animal cruelty, animal shelter, and what should be done. I do want to remind owners that we do have ordinances in place about dog cruelty. If you do see a dog that is not being properly cared for, if you see a dog that is being neglected and left out in cold temperatures, you can call the Flint police and they will take it from there, because they can be prosecuted by the city for keeping dogs in inhumane conditions. I do also want to reply to the question about our ARPA money, and if we have people willing to come in. I do, and they are, and they will. I just have to get them scheduled, but they are going to come in and talk about some of the things that they have done with the ARPA money. I only have 8 seconds left, so I'll yield.
Thank you. Anyone else? Go ahead.
Yes,
Go
Madam
ahead.
Chair.
Go ahead.
First, I would like to thank all of the residents for being here, and those of you who have come forth to the podium to talk about your issues and/or concerns. I did want to speak on the property portal. Michelle brought that up as far as, and Madam Chair, through you to Clerk Davina. Clerk Davina, who is responsible for updating that property portal? Because I did go on, I'm on it all the time, but I noticed who's responsible for going out, taking the pictures of the homes and making sure that it's updated?
It's my understanding it's a function of the land bank, the county land bank. It's not a clerk function, I will say that.
Okay,
And that's the property portal, not when you go to the city of Flint property search, that's city business, but that's property portal. It is not a function of my office or anything like that. I believe it's the
the
county.
City of Flint property portal?
Correct.
Okay. I know at one point, and I'm thinking at one point, didn't the development department, were they responsible for updating and going out and taking the pictures?
So you can do a property search through the City of Flint website. That's different than that property.
I'm talking about the property portal, the Flint
Yeah,
Park
so I think
property
it's
portal.
changed hands
That's land bank.
several
Okay.
times, but, yeah, so I
Thank
don't
you.
know for sure.
Thank you, that's your time. Anyone else? Anyone else? I'll take a few minutes here. I'm I did make some notes in regards to the grocery stores and cleanliness. I think that if you see something, you need to say something and contact the health department, the Genesee County. They're the ones that have the sanitation requirements. Mr. Clack, in regards to economic development, I'm sitting there and I'm reading all these economic development that is happening in Burton, right around the corner from me, and nothing's happening here. My question is why? Why are they doing it in Burton and not here? And I want to see that change, and that's just going to take time. I sit on the city's economic development board, and we get very little information. We get very little inquiries on that. In regards to the water settlement, Ms. Mashat did mention about the interest, but that is all governed by the courts. And we have very little to say and anything to do with it. Is $1,000 enough? No. But it's out of our hands, and I wish I could do something about it. I'm not a part of any court settlement. I'm not going to be getting any money from any of this. So I have no access to grind in this fight. I'm fighting for the people because they need it. But we have no say. It's all out of the courts in DC that do it. Rich, in regards to boarding up houses and things, if I could name 10 addresses off the top of my head that I would love to go in and board up. And they're privately owned, or they're land bank. But we have boarded some land bank, but we didn't spend any money. It was taken from fencing that was on the property to do that. And that house is now gone. So in regards, did my time start? Oh, my time was over. Okay. I heard the buzzer. So, okay, that's it. We're now on to the consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. Is there support? It's been moved by the councilwoman in 7th Ward, supported by the councilman in the 1st Ward. Are there any separations? Any separations?
Madam Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
I'm I'd like to separate all three.
All three? Okay, we have a full and complete separation. Okay, so our first resolution is 260024, NYE Uniform Company, uniforms for the Flint Police Department. I'll entertain a motion.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
I make a motion that we send to council, resolution 260024 to council.
is there support? There's been made by the councilwoman in the 7th ward, supported by the councilman in the 1st ward to send to council. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair,
Go ahead.
through you to those that can speak to this resolution.
Is there anyone who can speak to this resolution? Okay. Go ahead and ask your question as she's coming on down.
I'll let her identify herself. I don't
Okay.
know her. I shouldn't take five whole minutes. Good evening. Could you?
So, just so you know, my name's Angela Ammerman. I'm the Finance and Accounting Supervisor.
Okay, thank you, Miss Angela. In looking at the resolution, it appears that there is like a 50% increase between what was done in 24 and then in 25. How many, has there been an increase in actual FTE? Or are we just replacing?
So for FTE, you mean the full-time officers?
Yeah, the officer count.
We have been recruiting, so I don't know the exact number that they've brought in, but the part of it is the new recruits. So where the other one, some of the money is to replace some of the other officers' uniforms, but a lot of it has to do with the new recruits.
Yeah, that's what I read, that it was both replacement and new officers. So I'm trying to get a feel for, have we been successful? Because that's been a point of conversation, the actual recruitment efforts with the police department, because I'm understanding this is just for the police department, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So that's Ronald Dixon. He's over the actual recruiting of the officers, but I don't know the numbers,
Okay.
like how many they've.
Is the cost the same for a new officer as it is for a replacement?
Yes.
So how many, are we replacing complete uniforms or just tops, bottoms? How is
It
that?
could be either. It could be one officer might just need some new tops, or they could need bottoms. It's like they do keep them, like if somebody leaves, they keep the other uniforms. But so we could have a surplus of one size, but need another size, just whoever's recruited. Or because they could be also full-time officers, not the ones that are in the academy. Like we have been bringing in some of those officers.
I know we've gone through the bid process and it was awarded to the lowest bid. Do you have a feel for the cost per item? What does it cost to provide a uniform, a top and a bottom for an officer?
So that doesn't just include the uniforms, like it also is like their belts and their holsters and other things too. So it's between $5,500 and $7,500.
Per officer?
Yeah, for new recruits, like anybody that's new coming in. And it kind of just depends on what they're going to be. Like tactical gear is a little bit more expensive than like a regular uniform, because they would need that on top of their blues.
So it's possible this $100,000 could only impact 15 to 20 officers?
It could, but it usually gets spread out much farther than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And all right. I think that's all I have for now. Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
yield.
Anyone else? Anyone else in the first round? Anyone else? Anybody in the second round? Okay. This is the vote to send 260024 to council. Thank you.
Mr. Alamin? Dr. Lewis is not in. Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. Priestley?
Yes.
Ms. Winfrey Carter?
Yes.
Ms. Barnes is not in. Ms. Mashat? Yes. Mr. Pfeiffer is not in. Mr. Jarrett?
Yes.
Vote is 6 yes, 0 no.
The vote is 6 yes, 0 no. That will be sent to council. Our next resolution is 260025, contract with Michigan State University for the Flint Recast Program Evaluation. I'll entertain a motion.
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I make a motion that we send resolution 260025 to council.
There's a motion on the floor to send resolution 260025. Is there a second? It's been seconded by our councilman in the first ward. Is there any discussion? Go ahead.
To those that are here that could speak to this particular resolution?
Come on up.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Could you introduce yourself?
I am Michelle Scott. I am the Community Liaison and Program Coordinator for Recast and CVI.
Thank you. We, according to the resolution, we have been awarded this grant and had this grant since 2021.
That's correct.
Okay. And this is basically just a renewal of sorts for the year.
Yes, for the 5-year contract, this is the
5-year.
last year.
And I'm looking at some of the review documents, and they're dated September 2025. Can you help me understand the process that this goes through before it gets to us? I'm really trying to understand why, if this period for the grant is September, we're January seeing it. And this is not exclusive to this grant. This happens often. I'm really trying to get my arms around the process.
The process mainly is preparing the contract, first of all. Although this is the 5th year, it does repeat, but we made the language could change. The attorneys go through it. They look over the contract after it's prepared. Then we gather the documents. That could take a certain amount of time to get that done. The attorneys are, I'm sure, busy with other workload, but at the same time, they're helping us process the documents for the contract. So just gathering that information, and then when it comes up for them to approve it and process it, that's it. It's just paperwork and just waiting for signatures.
So and I guess this might help given what you just shared, the time with the attorneys and contract review, does that only happen after as this one is dated, today's date, September 24, 2025, staff review? Or is any of that starting before the staff review?
The staff review will come first.
Okay. And then that triggers the rest of the process.
That's correct. And once it's been, the contract has been reviewed, then we'll go around for signatures. And then we'll send out to the organization to have their signature. And then it comes in front of council for the resolution. I'm sorry, the resolution will come before council. Then we have to send the contract out to the organization to be signed. After they go over and they look at it, and if they have some revisions, they can do that at that time. And then we'll get that signed, and hopefully we get this signed like the other 3. This one particular one is part of a 4 organization packet, which already was approved. They just had some changes in this one. So that's why this one wasn't with the other ones. However, after that, after the resolution is passed, then we send it to finance, and then it goes through a process as well too. So it takes some time.
I can understand in year 1 how that process works out that way. In year 5 or the following years, is there anything in the guidelines of the funder or that prohibits us from starting the process the week before the reporting period or the performance period starts. Could we have started this instead of September 24, maybe July?
Oh, absolutely.
24?
It was started. The process does start that early. The other part to that is sometimes we have to make sure that all of their documents are up to date. The insurance is saved. The insurance ran out for one of the organizations July 25th. But the next one starts August. You have to wait and you have to catch that up. So that one, if we started sending it out, then it expires, and then we have to wait and get the updated one and attach that one. So everything is correct as far as the dates go. So it could be any number of things.
Thank you. And again, I'm mostly speaking to not just this resolution,
Yes.
but others that come where
Yes.
we're asked to approve it after
Yes.
the period has started. So
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Can we turn up the volume on that? I can barely hear it. Okay, thank you. Any other discussion in the first round?
Yeah, thank you, Madam
Go
Chair.
ahead.
I have a question. I know you guys are doing the evaluations. Have you received any community feedback as far as the evaluations? Did you incorporate community feedback in your evaluations?
Yes, Michigan State does the evaluation process. However, when we are with in the community at the organizations, those meetings, we always take surveys then, and those are implemented in the reporting as well too. With everything, we have to implement those. We have to add those to the reports.
Okay.
Mhm.
Now, okay, I guess I understand. How many organizations are there under this recast grant, do you know?
Oh, I'd have to get back with you. There's quite a few, because each one of the subawardees has organizations that they deal with or that they may fund or do mini grants with or whichever. So it's quite a few.
Okay, can you get that information?
I can get that information
and
for you.
submit it to our clerk, and then she can submit it to each of the council members. That would be some good information for
Okay,
us to have.
okay.
Okay, that's it, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else? Anyone in the second round? Seeing none, this is the vote to send resolution 260025 to council.
Dr. Lewis is absent. Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. Priestley?
Yes.
Ms. Winfrey Carter?
Yes.
Ms. Burns is absent. Ms. Mashat? Mr. Pfeiffer is absent. Mr. Jarrett?
Yes.
Mr. Alamin?
Yes.
Vote is 6 yes, 0 no.
The vote is 6 yes, 0 no. That will be sent to council. Our last resolution is 260027. Exlim Dewatering Solutions, Inc., Link Detection Survey Program, Water Service Center. I'll entertain a motion.
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to make a motion that we send resolution 260027 to council.
There's a motion on the floor from the councilwoman in the 7th Ward to send 260027 to council. Is there a support? Supported by the councilman in the 1st Ward. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair,
Go ahead.
good evening.
Good evening.
If you can go ahead and state your name for record, please.
Howard Hudson, Water Service Center, Water Supervisor.
Thank you, sir. I'm, with this resolution, I just wanted to try to understand exactly how this works. I read in here somewhere that we're looking to go from every other year to annual leak detection survey. what actually happens with this survey? Is it driving around with equipment, or what actually happens?
Okay, what they do is they have what we call collators, and they place them on valves throughout the city. And these collators collect information on water, the flow of the water. They listen, they can tell if the water's at a high flow or a low flow, and if it's at a really rapid flow, indicating a leak. So you have a valve, point A, point B, and you got a normal flow here. And then you have a leak in that area. Now you have a rapid flow, and it detects that flow. Then they use an audible listening device to walk that line and find that leak. They can locate, pinpoint right on top of a leak. I've used them before. They're very efficient at what they do. And these collators they'll move them all over the city, but they usually put out 12 to maybe 20, 10 to 20 collators throughout the city, and they'll collect information, and then they'll move them and just keep. So it's a large system, so they have to move them around quite a bit.
Yeah, and that's what I'm also trying to understand. So they'll get moved throughout the city. Over what type of period of time is the data collected, and how often they'll go out annually? Okay. But what is the testing period?
I understand. So it's typically a 7 to 10 day increases, and then it'll go back to decreases. So then they'll extend the period of time so it stays out longer. And if it just 7 to 10 days, if it's a constant flow or a constant reading, then they'll just pull that one and move it to a different location.
So this 192,000, is that what it is going to be? We're estimating that for annual cost?
That's for the initial startup, all the information given to us, and Xylem will come down. They'll bring the crews down. We don't have to support them in any way, shape, or form for the leak detection.
I don't know if
And that is for 1 year.
That's what I was going to ask. Are we signing just a 1-year contract with this vendor, or was it a multiple year?
This contract is 1 year.
So
there are other vendors that do this, but no one else responded.
Okay.
Xylem was a sole response.
Do we have a feel from them what continued service might cost? I'm understanding this 192 is in part setup.
I actually have a meeting with Xylem tomorrow to find that out. I tried to schedule earlier.
Yeah.
Because I also want to use them for a valve exercise and valve turning contract. And I was going to ask them that very thing. If I want to move forward with this, what's it going to cost me?
Please, because I would like to hear that Monday at the council meeting, and try to get understanding as to, because we say we want to do this annually now. So,
You think we get a better rate?
Yeah, is it going to be, we're saying this first year 192, and that's part of setup. Okay, so after the setup, and we only signed a 1-year contract with them, next year we go with somebody else, is that another 192 because we got to set up with a new vendor? So what could it look like to do the renewal with the same vendor for the service? So,
and that'll be a question I ask them.
Thank you. I like the way you're thinking there. I yield, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, Madam
Go
Chair.
ahead.
I have a question. So the last time we had a leak detection project was in 2015, right?
15, yes, ma'am.
I think that's what the paperwork says.
That's what I read also.
What were the results?
Of that leak detection?
Yeah, do we have the results?
I have no idea what those results were. I haven't seen them.
Okay.
They haven't been made
I mean, that's
evident to me, so I
quite
don't know.
quite a while ago, but
10 years,
Yeah.
11 years.
and there's no results out there of that.
These results will, I mean, you can go online and look at these results when they post them, when they
Yeah.
put them up, they'll be on,
Okay.
they'll
That'd be
have
good.
them available. Not
Okay.
only to me, but they'll be available to the city.
That'd be
If you
good.
want to use them. you
Yeah,
know.
because we need transparency.
Right.
People need to know. Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering about the results from the last leak detection project. It should have been attached to our agenda if we had some. All right, thank you.
Thank
I
you.
yield.
Anyone else? Anyone else? I just had one quick question when I was,
Yes, ma'am.
when I was looking at this, and I think that doing a leak detection is important. We have so many water main breaks, and then we get the sinkholes, and it takes a while for you guys to get back, able to repair those.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
being proactive is a very good thing. And so I just wanted to thank you for being proactive on it, because, I mean, I heard, was it the city's water main that broke over by Starlight a week or so ago?
Yes, ma'am.
And it flooded everything out, and I heard about it, and I live right there, so, let's stop that.
There's something else this will detect is any water mains that are going through storm drains that are leaking, this will find them. And typically, we might not find that leak. It might go years before it's leak. And just think of all the water that is running through that storm drain into the Flint River. It's paid for. That water's paid for, and
Yes.
it's leaking.
And hopefully we can save some money, and
Yeah, it's horrible. The water loss is a major deal with any city.
yeah, and especially here. And I know this is the time of year that we're going to get more of the water main breaks as the ground thaws and freezes
Yes, ma'am.
constantly. And
This is the hot time.
yes, and it's also the worst time because right now, especially with cold weather coming. Thank you very much for me. Is there anybody in the second round?
I do, Madam Chair.
Go ahead.
The break that Councilwoman just mentioned.
Yes.
An informed guesstimate, what you think a break like that might cost the city?
There's so many factors that go into that. You know, you're talking about the size of the break, the amount of pressure on the pipe, the water loss alone can be expensive.
Yeah.
Then you're dispatching crews out to that job. They're working overtime. They're working, who knows how many hours.
Do we do any?
It could cost you $50,000-$60,000 easy for a break.
Yeah, and I guess I'm asking for two reasons. One, to try to understand best I can what something like that ends up costing, and then to look at that in relation to the 192 that we're looking to invest as not necessarily insurance, but assurance that could provide for us information to help to prevent the break, is what I'm hopeful that it's able to do.
That's what it's intended to do.
Okay, so again, if I could, and I would assume that somewhere along the line, when these breaks when they've come, we've been able or made it a point to try to assess, what does this thing cost us?
Well, I've currently, within the last 10 days, I've been working on a water loss chart. So I can try to get my foremen to give me an idea of how big that break was. Was it a hole? Was it a crack? What was the pressure at the time? Did you call the water plant and get a pressure reading so I know about how to estimate how much water we lost through the system at that time?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to start asking, I haven't asked yet, but I want to start asking, what hours did you put in on that? How many hours were actual out there on the job? Was the, what equipment was used? How much were we paying for that equipment per hour? And what inconveniences did the citizens suffer? Did we have to close a road down? Do we have to close a lane down? Did we have to close anything down?
Yeah.
And what about the cleanup afterwards? What'd that cost us?
And I
I'm
would
gonna
think
start-
that we would want to know, you know, and be able to
I could,
say what these things cost. Again, and I'm not trying to give you a job to do.
No,
necessarily,
but that's something that's serious and it's important, not only to you, but to me too.
Mhm.
So I like to know where our money's going.
Thank
you. You know, I could get something together on that leak and I could give you an estimate on the price that we spent.
That'd be wonderful. I'd like to say thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion in the second round? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This is the vote to send resolution 260027 to council.
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Ms. Priestley,
Yes.
Ms. Winfrey Carter,
Yes.
Ms. Burns is absent, Ms. Mashat. Yes. Mr. Pfeiffer is absent, Mr. Jarrett,
Yes.
Mr. Alamin.
Yes.
Dr. Lewis is absent. The vote is 6 yes, 0 no.
The vote is 6 yes, 0 no. That will be sent to council. Okay, our next item of business is a special order discussion item on the future of water rates as requested by myself for a 15-minute presentation or discussion. So the reason why I asked for this is because we did put some ARPA money into the water fund last year, and the water fund doesn't seem to be getting healthy. That was just a stopgap measure. And we all know that we don't want to raise water rates, but we are tied into a 30-year contract with GLEWA. And that during that time with GLEWA, our water rates have been, what we're being charged has been increased. And yet KWA, of which we are a stakeholder and an owner of that system, the rates have not increased. They have actually gone down a little bit since it began. So I wanted to have a discussion with where we stand on it, where the fund stands, what's the future look like, how much do we have outstanding in receivables, and how are we doing? And so I'm going to ask Amanda, can you come up? I hope I gave you enough time. I'm sorry, I was ill the last week and I wasn't able to get my thoughts organized. So I pulled the data off of our financial statements from 2024 as to how much our receivables are. Do you know, did I ask you for that information? How much is owed to the water fund right now?
Well, what I did was I ran my reports just to see how much was outstanding in water bills.
Okay,
So you want it as of 2024?
as of right now, whatever
Okay.
you got on your report, was that ran as of today?
This is as of December
That
31st of
works.
25. Altogether, I mean, for active accounts, there's 23 million plus owing. And for inactive accounts, there's 10 million plus owing.
So those 10 million, how many are in collection?
Those are the ones that are here. In April and in October of this year, of 2025, we sent accounts to collections. I did not get a chance to run that report, but it was over, I want to say 7 million that was sent to collection.
And we've got 10 million inactive accounts.
$10 million
owed,
inactive,
10 million
yes.
inactive that is owed to the city.
Correct.
So in the meantime, the city is having to cover that debt. Because we have to pay this for the water itself, we have to pay for our staff, we have to pay for chemicals, we have to pay for the water treatment plant, all of that. So I want to open it up for people to ask any questions, because we do have, this is something, as we all know, it's getting to be budget time. And this is going to be part of the master fee schedule. And let's start the discussion now rather than at the end in June, in late May, trying to get the budget passed. We have to address it because it's hard decisions.
Madam Chair,
Go ahead.
I'm just trying to understand with this line of questioning, where exactly are you trying to go?
I'm trying to find solutions so that we don't have to raise water rates.
Okay, as long as we're clear on the
My
vote for.
big thing is can we break the contract is my big question, but that is not for this day. The eyes get big.
You know, some things between you and your attorneys. I'm just,
Right.
I do think that, first of all, thank you for this discussion item because we absolutely do need to have that discussion. Is there any way that we can get something via email that tells us where we are right now on this day and how it's trending if we stay where we are?
Okay. Finance is currently working on a cash analysis statement.
Okay.
And that's something that they are just starting to work on as we're doing our audit. And then once they get that information gathered, then that's when they will present that to the mayor to see what, if there's any, what we need to do with the rates.
So Mr. Moore, could you send that to us as well? Or would the mayor have to send that to us?
I mean, we can request.
We can request it from the mayor.
The process I normally follow is I prepare it, I provide the information to the city administrator, and then if he blesses it, I send that on to the city council.
Okay.
So in your cash analysis statement, what goes into that? What?
I look at all the anticipated revenue for the current rate structure, compare that to the expenses and the capital improvements that we're planning to do during the year. And I try, with that, we try to estimate what our cash position will be during the year, and particularly at the end of the year. If we are worried about the cash position at the end of the year, then we will have a conversation with the mayor and the city administrator to determine what goal they'd like to have, whether it be to revisit the capital improvements, whether it be to revisit the rate, whether it be, whatever options, all options are on the table at that point. And we haven't got to that point. We just started to work on the cash flow.
So with our capital improvements that you're discussing, I believe there were some loans or grants or something that we have for some capital improvements, correct?
Most of the loans that you're thinking about are with the wastewater side of things.
Okay.
And we do have some significant grants on.
So what would be some capital improvements on this side of things that we have to take a look at?
Right.
No, so what would be some capital improvements on this side that we have to
We
take a
try to
look at?
replace water mains. We try to replace a lot of the valves, a lot of the infrastructure. We have to review the needs for the plant. We have to maintain a 20-year outlook on the capital needs of the plant. And we try to balance that out so that no one year is hit too hard, so that we can have a more even expense and repair of the capital needs.
And historically, and this might be more of a question for Amanda, but historically, have we received grants or any type of loan or anything to make capital improvements? For this side, so for like water mains.
Yes, we've received some significant grants a few years back. I mean, there were millions of dollars worth of grants that we received. So we have made some significant improvements in the infrastructure over the years. It's just that with a water system, you always have to look at the status of everything, and you have to make a plan to replace something every year.
Are those same grants that we received in the past, are those grants available now, or how would that process work?
That's not my area of expertise. I'm not sure I can answer that question.
Is Amanda able to answer that question?
I don't think so. That's not her area of expertise either.
No. Is there anyone here that is able to answer that question about grants? And if there are any that would be possible? I'm looking back there and I don't think so.
No.
Okay, so is
Scott would be.
that something that we can get an answer to as well? I just want us to exhaust all possibilities because what we're looking at here, we've done some measures, right, that we have not had to pass on any of the rising costs
Right.
to residents. I would like to keep it that way. I think when we talk in terms of, and again, Councilwoman Priestley is 100% correct that we do not have anything to do with the settlement. However, we can make a request for the interest money. I think that one of the things that we would request that we would do with said interest money is obviously put it into the water fund. I think that if I had my way, there would have been a lot of people not involved in certain ways, and settlements would have gone as they should have gone for residents, and then also people would not be paying water bills. And since obviously that's not what happened, I do want to ensure that we are in a place where, if at the very least, we can ensure that they are not paying higher rates. Because one of the things we know historically is that our water rates were illegally tripled at one point.
Yes.
And so we are here now. And this council is going to do everything that we can do. I'm going to speak for myself. I am going to do everything that I can do to not raise water rates. That will not.
I think
be
it's
an
fair to
easy
say that's the
thing.
mayor's position as well. He doesn't want
Mhm.
to raise water rates.
All right. I will yield the floor because I'm sure my colleagues have some questions. Councilwoman Priestley, I do want to thank you again because this is a timely discussion. We do look forward to the information that you will provide for us, or the administration will provide for us regarding the rates. Thank you.
Yep. And anyone else?
Madam Chair,
Yeah, go ahead.
through the speakers, could you guys tell us what trends in population growth or decline could impact water demand and pricing in the future?
I'm sorry.
What trends in population growth?
The population has been trending down,
Okay, so how would that impact?
and that
Price.
the water system is very capital intensive. So if the population goes down, that means the cost per person tends to rise when you do that, or when that happens.
Do you kind of have an idea of what the numbers are looking like on the decline? Because I know, I think it was last year we got something, it was something reported that the population was growing.
Last numbers I saw for population were, they're about the same as the last estimate. I think the population of the city is around 80,000 people.
Around about 80,000.
Right.
Okay, and then my other question is, how does inflation changes in the cost of infrastructure development affects future water rates and so forth?
That's something we've had to face every year. Our water source, Glewa, if they have a plan to replace a lot of their infrastructure every year, and their plan is to have about a 3% rate increase every year. That'll be passed on to us and all the other users. If we don't raise rates, we have to figure out other places where we're going to save money. So we have to look at everything we do to try to figure out how we're going to reduce the cost for that.
And I know we just recently was discussing a resolution about supporting infrastructure to deal with like leaks and things like that. Will that help us long term, cut the cost and so forth?
Long term, we're going to have capital costs, and we have to make sure we do invest in the system, and we have been. But we can look at how we do it and what options are available. And that, if you try to keep up with what's happening in the industry, there are things that we can do to lessen some of the cost, but there's always going to be capital cost in the water system.
And I think my colleague may have mentioned this, are we currently, to get ahead of the curve, looking at some grants or partnerships to draw in additional funds specifically for the water rates and so forth? So if we have these issues and we're trying to address it, we don't have to raise the rates on the community and so forth.
I'm not a grant expert. The city has been very aggressive about applying for grants. We did receive substantial grants 2 or 3 years back. We haven't received any for the last year or two. I'm not sure what the status is for applying for grants in the future. That's not something I follow.
Okay. And then my last question is are you guys looking at like new technology and ways we could use some things to improve our infrastructure that will keep this down and we don't have to keep revisiting this type of
I think you'll find that our staff is constantly getting trained, and the goal for that is to find new and better ways to do things. Whether that, you're not going to eliminate the need, but you can find better ways and more efficient ways to do things.
Thank you. I yield.
Ms. Winfrey Carter, would you
Thank
like to
you.
add more time?
Yes, I would. Madam Chair, I would like to make a motion that we add, you need 15 more minutes to this discussion.
There's a motion on the floor from a councilwoman in the 5th Ward, supported by the councilwoman in the 7th Ward, to add an additional 15 minutes to this discussion. Roll call.
Ms. Priestley?
Yes.
Ms. Winfrey Carter?
Yes.
Ms. Burns is absent. Ms. Mashat? Yes. Mr. Pfeiffer is absent. Mr. Jarrett?
Yes.
Mr. Alamin? Yes. Dr. Lewis is absent. Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
Vote is 6 yes, 0 no.
The vote is 6 yes, 0 no. Go ahead, Ms. Winfrey Carter.
Okay, I have a question. I want to find out, what is the current collection rate for water bills? And also the water bills that are delinquent?
I don't have the exact number of the collection rate. However, just as, you know, anytime we send out shut-off notices, that's when collection rates do rise. People are usually just prompted by that. I can get you that number and I can email that to you guys to tell you what the exact number is. Right now,
Okay.
it's slower because of the weather.
And then how are we doing? We talked about the people who have really high past due water bills.
Right. And
How are we collecting that? And
like I
are we
said,
being successful?
We are trying to get to them. A lot of the ones that have the higher rate, like the one that was emailed to me, it's because there's problems with the curb boxes that need to be reset. So they're trying to work on it. I was talking to Dan about that when we were back there about that, so we can get, you know, more crews working on those kinds of accounts, because we had an account today that I don't know why we didn't get them turned off, why they got skipped, but they did. And so we're going after, making sure that we get to those.
Because we have bills that probably are past due, what, how many years?
Right. But unfortunately, all we do is, you know, it's set at a current bill plus 10%. I mean, that does need to be raised, so that way we can collect more each time.
Right.
I mean, so it's not enough. We need to collect more. We need to have a higher rate of collection that way.
Okay. Do we have it set up where residents can be on some type of payment plan?
Well, the current bill plus 10% is the payment plan.
Yeah, but I guess I was thinking of,
And because when we've done those individually where we had people do a certain amount, it did not work out well. People would not abide by it.
Right.
So that's why we went by with the current bill plus 10%.
Mhm.
And that was
then
something
what's
that
going
council
on?
wanted years ago.
Didn't we send out, we have a third-party company collecting water bills, right?
Yes, we have a collection agency that we send inactive accounts to.
Okay, okay. And how is that going? Are they able to collect anything?
Yes, they are. Yep. They do a good collection rate. We've gone to court several times with them. And we won all the judgments against those customers. So that way they had to pay those. So I mean, they've been successful on that, yes. And I'm waiting to get the figures from them as well. since I
So
just-
can we get those
Yes.
figures as well?
Yes.
And then make sure that each council member
Yes.
receive that information.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Madam Chair,
I'm going to go ahead and go with Mr. Jarrett.
thank you. Good evening. Can you clarify for me, go back to what you shared sort of at your open? There was a $23 million number I thought I
Yes.
heard. What did that represent exactly?
Those are the amounts that are, the balances due for active water accounts.
So those are all active accounts?
Yes.
Okay. And then you said a $10 million number. What did that represent? Inactive
accounts.
Inactive. So those are, does that speak to the individual or does that speak to the property when we say inactive? And what I mean by that is, let's say my wife and I have a home. And initially, the water was in my name. And then it became in her name. So the account in my name is inactive, but I'm still at the residence. So what does inactive really mean?
Yes, that is exactly what it means. That any accounts that were anybody who had water in their name at any particular address, if they move in, then they move out and they have a balance due, it will show on there. So you can have one address with multiple accounts that are one active and multiple inactives.
Okay, but again, the classification of inactivity or activity resides with an individual,
Yes.
not an address.
Correct.
Okay. And we really almost don't have a way of knowing if the inactive account is really an account where that individual is benefiting from service that they're just not, that's no longer in their name.
I didn't say that again.
We don't have a way of really knowing the true status of an inactive account. I don't know how to say it better right now. So give me a minute. Give me a minute. Go ahead.
He is saying that, again, using his analogy, if it was in his name, then all of a sudden water bill was switched to his wife's name, you have no way of knowing he's still benefiting from that water, even though he didn't pay his bill.
Well, in that case, when, because we have this happen, where if it's in the husband's name and then we turn him off for non-pay, but the wife tries to come in, well, if they're both on the deed, they have to pay that bill before we can turn the water on.
But if you have a situation where someone is not on the deed and they're trying to get water turned on, then would you know?
Well, I mean, they have to sign an affidavit. The owner has to sign an affidavit for anybody that is not a deed holder to put water on in their name as a renter.
Okay.
I will say that people are very creative.
Oh, that's understood as well. I have a question about the relationship with the collection agency. Is it that the collection agency has sort of bought the accounts from us? So let's say, and I think you used a $7 million number.
Yeah.
Let's say we have $7 million worth of what we'll call bad debt. Are we selling that to the collection agency at a discount and now it's theirs and they collect whatever they collect? Or are they working as an agent for us?
Yeah, they're working as an agent.
Okay, so as an agent, do they have the authority to negotiate?
Well, no, I mean, what they'll do is if someone says, say there's an $800 bill, that they have, and then someone will ask, and, I want to pay a certain amount, they will contact us and we'll tell them the minimum amount we will take.
Okay, so they don't have authority to
No.
approve negotiation?
No, but
Okay.
they can make payment arrangements with them. Because we
Okay.
just had a lady this morning who, was trying to apply for water service, but she had to go to the collection agency, make arrangements, and then they send that information to us, so then that way she can get water turned back on
All right.
at a different address.
So with the agency that we're working with now, we're contracted with now, do they get a percentage or a flat rate?
Percentage.
A percentage, okay. Okay. I think I'll yield there and open the floor.
Mr. Alamin?
Thank you, Madam Chair. To the speaker, the world and society is going towards, technology, AI, things like that, solar. What role can green infrastructure play in reducing the overall water demand and our rates? And is that something we are exploring to more green technology?
I don't know that we've used AI for that. We do try to use the systems to make us more efficient in how we operate and do things, but we really haven't integrated AI into the operation at this point.
Or even not necessarily just AI, but like just solar, green energy, and those other things that can reduce the cost of water rates and so forth. Are you guys exploring or working with some agencies, environmental agencies or anything?
Our water supply comes from GLEWA, and they're the ones that make and process the water. We don't really get involved in the treatment of the water.
I think that's something definitely we should explore. When
right.
you start looking at like solar and things like that, that could be a way of cutting costs for residents as well as the city. I definitely want to highly recommend potentially doing that. And how can we create like a sliding scale for water rates, like a bargaining on income type of usage for, especially for our low income to no income residents?
I know that a few years past that they had tried to do something like that, because I know Detroit was doing something like that. But I don't know where it went to, how far they got with that. I know that they did discuss it, but I've never, like I said, that's probably 4 or 5 years ago when I heard that.
RL, please.
And then my last question is kind of similar to what my colleagues have mentioned. Like if you are an entrepreneur and you purchase properties and things in the community, what a lot of people run into is that if somebody left the water bill at that residence and whoever purchased that property, they're left with taking care of that bill. Is there some discussion or does there need to be discussion about how can we address that? Because if you got people that's willing to invest into our community, especially our neighborhoods that's been hit kind of hard, but then you get hit with a $2,000-$3,000 water bill that's not even yours, that's discouraging. How can we, or is there some things we could do to address that?
Well, I believe that the mayor had a workshop just recently for people who were trying to buy homes, because the thing that we come across almost daily is that people buy a home without benefit of, going through a title company and getting title insurance. Because if you did that, then they are obligated to go through and find all the bills that are owing. And when they don't do that, then that's when they get surprised when they come in, apply for water service, that there's a water bill owing. So that's something that, I really would like, anyone who's interested in buying a home is to, get the title insurance, so that way they can find out everything that is owing on the property, not only from, the city, but any other, bank loans or whatever that could possibly be on that property. And we could come across that every day.
Yeah, that's a good point. Sometimes though, we do run into it. Just recently, I had a resident of mine who was inherited, her grandmother had passed and left the home. And she's not, super well off or so forth. And so couldn't get a title clearance and things like that to know that information. Is there going to be any more discussions or workshops around that, or something like that being planned to educate the public a little more about that?
I have not heard, but I can find out, because I think those things are helpful. Because we have a lot of people that, like you said, inherit homes, and they've never owned a home, so they need that help as well, of everything that, goes into owning a home, so.
All right, thank you. I yield.
Thank you. We have 3 minutes left. Is there anyone else? Anyone else? Okay, well, thank you very much for your information. You've been very big help, Amanda and Mr. Moore. Phil, I appreciate it. And this is going to be an ongoing discussion, and I will close out this discussion item. Here's a motion to adjourn, and by the 7th Ward, supported by the gentleman in the 1st Ward. Roll call, please.
Ms. Winfrey Carter?
Yes.
Ms. Mashat?
Yes.
Mr. Jarrett?
Yes.
Mr. Alamin? Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. Priestley?
Yes.
Vote is 6 yes, 0 no.
The vote is 6 yes, 0 no. This meeting is adjourned at 6:48 PM.
What do we want to move it up to?
After public comment?
So after council response?
Yeah.
Okay.
Before resolutions. Thought we had,
I'm doing government
oh,
apps.
there it is.
I'm doing
Okay.
government apps.
What are we doing? Government ops?
I'm doing
now?
government apps, yeah. Madam Clerk,
Where's my?
I do not believe that there is anyone who needs to fill out a speaker slip. If there is someone who has not had an opportunity to fill out a speaker slip, please take the time to do so now if you want to speak during this meeting. Madam Clerk, I do not believe anyone needs to fill out a speaker slip, so I am going to go ahead and start the meeting. The time is now 6:48 PM on Wednesday, January 21st. I hereby call this Governmental Operations Committee meeting to order. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Alamin? Dr. Lewis is not in. Ms. Johnson?
Present.
Ms. Priestley?
Present.
Ms. Winfrey Carter?
Present.
Ms. Burns is not in. Ms. Mashat?
Present.
Mr. Pfeiffer is not in. Mr. Jarrett?
Present.
You have 6 members present.
We have 6 members present. It is now time for the reading of the disorderly person city code subsection. Any person that persists in disrupting this meeting will be in violation of Flint City Code Section 31-10, disorderly conduct, assault and battery, disorderly persons, and will be subject to arrest for a misdemeanor. Any person who prevents the peaceful and orderly conduct of any meeting will be given 1 warning. If they persist in disrupting the meeting, that individual will be subject to arrest. Violators will be removed from the meeting. Are there any requests for agenda changes and/or additions? I would like to make a change to the agenda. I would like to move both of our special order discussion items to after council response, and I will order without objection if there aren't any. So it is ordered without objection. Moving on, are there any other changes? Seeing as how there are none, it is now time for public comment. Members of the public who wish to address the city council or its committees must register before the meeting begins. A box was placed at the entrance to the council chambers for collection of registrations. No additional speakers or slips will be accepted after the meeting begins. Members of the public shall have no more than 3 minutes per speaker during public comment, with only 1 speaking opportunity per speaker. First public speaker, Madam Clerk.
First speaker is R.L. Mitchell.
Hello, I'm R.L. Mitchell. I live at 759 East Linden Avenue, over there by the graveyard, Graceland. And for the record, what Omanda was talking about, the government agent had to come in and step in and jump on us, we the people who got an overstanding water bill in their houses. And if they can't get their money back, they threaten them, kick them out of the house, and then tear their house down, and then they go try to get a new house, and then they call the background, and that's why we keep getting in this situation with Mr. Moore, like you're trying to tell the Mexican woman what to do. But anyway, like I say, I lived on Milton Street for 15 years, and I didn't know I lived that long. It was a water leak in my basement. It ran all them 15 years, and that's why I figured that's why I got black mold around the walls down there, and they said, Mr. Mitchell, you can't live in your house no more. They didn't tell me till I had to go get another house, a bigger house and better than that one. And but they said people say ain't never had no home training about insurance and all that. I mean, water, like she was explaining a few minutes ago. But even when I got married on 501 Old Laredo Street, a woman and her husband gave me a whole house, insurance and the deeds and everything. But my wife disappeared when I come home from work one day. Half of the furniture was gone, and I was just going to build a fence around it and come to pay the taxes. They say, you about 1 minute late, sir. You ain't got no money on this property. And I've been homeless ever since. That's what's going on in Flint. But I'm saying to you today, you people's gonna pay me back all that money on the houses and stuff. Whoever y'all is, landlords and slum landlords. Every time I get settled, think I'm settled, you don't jump on me directly, you jump on my payee. My payee calls up paying the water bill. It's ultimately a grown man, but it's automatic come out of my check and pay the pay. They be like now, somebody put a well check on me about 3 weeks ago, and the people said, hey, you got a caseworker? Why don't you use a caseworker? That's what they for. They can do. And when she said that, I ain't do. They can come in you. They say, how you living, sir? I got a brand new house, and they be asking me how they want to come in and check me. They said, that's why people's in Flint and getting them outside agency and jumping on me like they doing our president, taking over Greenland. Now the House of Lords going to attack our president, and he going to do what he supposed to do. And Diane Boyce, the Prince of Wales, who you make the wheels? You going to get what you drunken Canada.
Thank
nerd,
you.
grand
Next
black
public
nerd.
speaker, Madam
Take
Clerk.
that, America.
Next speaker is John Baker.
I believe he left.
Michael Clack.
I believe he left.
M. Young.
She left.
Rich Jones.
How y'all doing today? I got a whole lot of things on my mind, but I'm gonna try to just limit it to this, because I've been having a whole lot of conversations, and I must admit today I'm kind of happy about the way y'all are conducting yourselves and stuff in the meeting. You know, people be calling me up and they be trying to point out the differences and the negative things about the council, and I'm like, hold on, bro. I think this could be a very good council. They like, what the hell is you talking about? How can this council be good? I said, because there's so much division between them that if they put the citizens first and stop worrying about what they don't like about each other or what problem they have or whatever going on that's negative, because that's what's wrong with our city. We always communicate on what's negative, what we don't like about somebody, what somebody ain't doing, what somebody done wrong. And then in the same voice, when that person do something right, you can't even say, man, good job. You ignore the fact that they do stuff. And it's not dealing with y'all, but this is just our city in general. When people are trying to do something good, if you're not going to support what they're doing good, that's all right. But damn it, don't try to stop it from happening. We got a lot of problems in this city, on this council, off this council, and this is something else. Every seat is up in Flint, Michigan. You got your county commission seats, You got your council seats, you got your mayor seat, you got your state rep seat, you got your senate seats, you got school board seats. We need to look at everything. And all I'm asking for the city council, because we have issues as citizens that y'all can only address as citizens. We ask y'all to address them with us. Like Rayvon, for example. We ask y'all to stand with us when we stand up against somebody coming in here and shoot a young black man in the back. We ask y'all to have a conversation saying that he was shot in the back. I want to phrase off of the fact that Mr. Swanson, who's running for sheriff, he stated about people not being shot in the back.
Thank you.
Thank y'all very much. Ran out of time.
Next public speaker, Madam Clerk.
Next speaker is Tanya Jones.
I believe she left.
Dion Freeman.
Good evening, City Council. Dion Freeman, a First Ward resident. My statements are pretty much from the last meeting, and I apologize I didn't get my slip in on time. It was about Recast. The last time I was at the podium and at a meeting, I noticed that 3 different organizations got close to a total of like $730,000, close to $1 million for Recast, 3 different organizations. So seeing another $100,000 on the agenda going to Recast is causing me to ask or question a whole lot about what is Recast actually doing for the city besides having workshops? What are the bottom line measurables, how it's affecting and making the residents' lives better? The other thing I want to know is the Flint money that's going to Recast. Is it only supporting Flint residents, or is it supporting county residents or any residents that come to these meetings? Because I don't think they limit who can come and who can't come. So my thought is, and this is where I'm at with a whole lot of entities and a whole lot of organizations. I've said, and you'll probably hear me say this 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 to 11, 12 times. I'm tired of being given trinkets and trash when we need bottom line results and bottom line items that are going to help the residents. A $25 gift card may not seem like much, but if you took that $100,000, you can give 4,000 residents $25. It may be a partial tank of gas. We know that's not going to fill up our tanks these days, but I'm looking to see something done with our money from the city and even larger entities to affect the finances and the bottom line of the residents. I like great programs. I go to plenty of workshops. I've been to several Recast events. I'm not saying they don't give good information, but after this 5-year period is over, because from what I've heard, this program was only the last 5 years. When this 5 years is up, is that going to be the end of Recast, or is Recast entities and everything dealing with Recast going to come back and ask for more money? My question is too, I would like to find out from just this past year alone, or even previous years, how much Flint money has been given to this Recast program. Dollars being given to each one of these entities, I'm sure there is something in there that says that they have to do some type of evaluations on their own to already get this money. So if each individual entity already has to do their own evaluations, why are we paying a separate entity to come in and do it? Or I might be misunderstanding, is Michigan State the entity that's responsible for doing every single evaluation from these Recast events? So I'm just really asking for some clarity, because I really want to see some more effective things happen for our residents in the city, like more counseling. Thank you.
Thank you. Next public speaker, Madam Clerk.
The final speaker for this meeting is Mari Copany.
A few things tonight. First, it's dangerously cold and our homeless population is extremely vulnerable. Last week, we had a homeless man freeze to death inside of an abandoned building over on Ballinger. I know the news didn't cover it, but his life mattered. With the downsizing of capacity at the homeless shelters and warming center, I am afraid we are going to see another human freeze to death here. There are several people who are working in the community to try to help our homeless population, but when it's cold, we need to make sure they have access to safe shelter. Next, it's disappointing to see what our community has no plan for when ICE ramps up their activity here. We have a huge Hispanic community that are going to be targeted and harassed if current tactics we are seeing across the country are implemented here. I know Dr. Lewis attended the immigrants' rights training. Maybe collaborate with her on how the city can protect the residents. Last week, Chef Baker brought to your attention the terrible food quality in the few local grocery stores. Let's start with Mr. B's in the Landmark and Landmark in the 1st Ward and the Fresh Church in the 4th Ward. In the last 24 hours, I have gotten over a dozen comments of people finding spoiled and expired food in all these stores. Access to safe and expired food should be the bare minimum for our community. I know at least one of you is working on that, but this is an issue that affects our entire city, so I expect all of you to help figure out how to make sure these stores aren't selling us garbage. And to the councilman in the 1st Ward, since you keep on reiterating that you have never met me, hi, I'm Mari Kopany. I have been a clean water activist since I've been 8 years old. My letter convinced President Obama to come to Flint, which led to me having a huge platform. I used that platform to advocate for clean water, not only for Flint, but for my entire community. I also use my platform to better my community through the events I throw for local kids. In the past 10 years, I've helped over 40,000 kids with zero hope for local leadership. So please do your job.
Wow. Yeah, First Ward, Councilman.
Thank you. Next public speaker, Madam Clerk.
That was the last speaker.
Thank you. Seeing as how that was the last public speaker, it is now time for council response. Council members may respond once to all public speakers, only after public speakers have spoken. An individual council member's response shall be limited to 2 minutes. Is there anyone who wishes to speak during council response? Councilwoman Winfrey Carter, you have the floor.
I love it. Thank you, Madam Chair. I love it when our young people come to council meetings. They are engaged in the process, and they get up to the podium and they speak. I just love it. Little Miss Flint and your sister, thank you guys for always showing up. Thank you. This is good for you. You're learning about civic engagement. Hopefully when you get older, start priming yourself to be able to run for, any type of elected official position. If you're running in school for your for your, student council, that would be good. This is a good start, and thank you for coming. And thank all of the other residents for being here. And I see some representatives from Consumers Energy. Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak during council response? All right, seeing as how there's no one else who wishes to speak during council response, I will go ahead and take my time. I too would like to thank Mari. Continue to use your voice and your platform to uplift issues that are happening here. What's happening in Flint is not, it's not exclusive to Flint. And so the help and solutions that you provide for our city could also lead to help and solutions for other cities. So please continue to use your platform in a positive, uplifting manner. I do want to also speak about the fact that we do need to uplift more because we have a Latino population, and we need to make sure that they understand that we honor and respect them and their presence in our community, and that we stand with them as we see what's happening across the nation, that we make sure that we take a stand here in Flint as well. So thank you for uplifting that. And it is very important. We had a young man that was here on Monday who made a similar request to you. And so we are working with our legal department to see what steps we can take as a council to ensure that all people that live in the city of Flint are treated humanely, fairly, and judiciously, because we do know that we are seeing an uprising of rights being violated. And so here in the city of Flint, we want to make sure that we are standing on the front line to protect rights. So thank you so much. With that said, I will yield my time during public speaking. It is now time for our special order discussion items. We will start with discussion item 250431-T, which is the discussion item for an administrative update of water testing 34 through 3600 blocks of Brownell Boulevard. This was ordered by Council President Lewis, who is absent. So we will go ahead and do about a 10-minute discussion to see if maybe one of my colleagues has something they want to weigh in on. I believe our city administrator may be in the back. If you would like to come and provide an update. I do say this with the caveat of working in water, so understanding how this process works and maybe us needing to make the decision as a body to not put this on here every meeting, simply because there will not be updates every meeting. Sometimes these things are not available. We did have a big ask for him. I want us to also be cognizant of the fact that when you start talking about testing 100 homes, that you will have a hard time finding a full panel test. And so most people start testing, it's one metal costs one thing, and then there's additional dollars for each metal after. The dollars are a different amount, but still there's an additional dollar amount. And then also when you start talking about testing for bacteria, that's going to run you more than metals. And so when you ask for that for 100 homes, the administration has to figure out what that looks like and how that has to go. I think that our original request for a full panel may be a bit of a big lift too, as I know we don't have the funding to pay for a full panel for 100 homes. So we might need to zero in more specifically on what the issue could possibly be, and then ask for those specific things to be tested for. With that said, can we start at the time? Mr. Edwards, it's on you.
You completed my statement. That's spot on. That's all I came here to say, is that after making the phone calls and talking with the various companies, that's what I concluded out of it, is that they charge based on what they're testing for.
Yes.
So you got to tell them what they're testing for, and your order doesn't really specify that. They don't deal in such things as full panel, a full water panel. They don't know what that is. They want to know what elements do you want them to test for. And so I'll tell them it can be up to 100 or even more. But I got to tell them what elements am I looking for, and then they'll test for that. So that's really up to the community or people who had the complaint and wanted the water tested. Then I need to know, from this body, exactly what do you want me to test for, and then I can go ahead and get that situated, and they can do what is necessary at that point. But that's something you'd have to give me the information as to what you want done, and then I'll make sure that it gets done.
Absolutely. Before I take time, is there anyone who would like the floor? Okay. You're so funny. I mean, it's kind of what I do every day. Thank you, Judy. I appreciate that. No, Mr. Edwards is 1,000% correct. The way this has to work, and I think that we are going to have to once again modify the resolution, because what we need to do is first find out what the concerns are. I know some people are having some concerns with black mold, and some people are saying maybe there's an odor. So we have to narrow down what they're saying the specific odor is. I know some people are saying that there's a discoloration. We need to narrow down the specific discoloration as well. And then from there, we can determine what it likely sounds like. And we can do that with our water experts here at the city. But we need to narrow down those few things to decide. We know that we're going to do bacteria testing for sure. We know that's happening. But when we start talking about some of the other things, when we get into, he's used the correct term in saying elements, but we're saying metals. So when we get into testing metals, we need to decide, are we testing for lead? Are we testing for copper? Are we testing for manganese? We have to decide that, but we can only decide that based on what the households are saying, what's more prevalent. And so if you're going to do that for 100 households, just know your first metal is going to cost you one thing, and then your next metals are additionally probably going to be $10 after that for however many metals, and you're going to have to multiply that by 100. And then bacteria testing has its own cost as well, which costs more than testing for metals, and you're going to have to multiply that number by 100 as well. And then you're gonna have to decide what bacteria you're testing for. So us putting this on here every week and expecting him to have an answer when we've given him a blanket statement is not fair. So is there anyone who would like the floor?
I just would maybe like to have some dialogue with
Yes, sir.
you here now around
Okay,
this.
absolutely.
Because I do absolutely understand and can appreciate not having to have him come every week.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess what I'm also hearing is, should we be engaging the residents in these homes
Yes.
and trying to do some type of survey so that we can identify, as you said, what type of testing we need to do based on what they're saying they're seeing or experiencing within their homes?
Correct. Because that's going to help inform what metals we put in, what metals and what bacteria that we place in the resolution to be tested for.
So how do we come as a body to developing that survey? I mean, I have no problem yielding to you, Councilman Mashat,
Mhm.
as the lead on this, because this is your area of
Mhm.
expertise. And I would only, add support, in
Okay.
other words.
Yeah.
But in what ways do we actually go about the working of getting even the survey built? Or is it something that, not to give you a job?
So there may or may not already be a survey that can be provided to Davina to provide to everyone else to see if they would like to add to.
That sounds like that would be, and that may be, a wonderful start. So thank whoever wrote that survey that may be
Yeah.
available to us to get us jump started, and I'll yield from there.
Okay, is there anyone else who would like the floor? Councilman in the first ward.
I just had through the speaker, would it be helpful? I know we're just focusing on the blocks in the neighborhood here, but to do a survey for all 9 wards to like kind of compare the differences and things like that. Seeing, like, say in one area you might get Legionnaire, and then in this area it might be lead and some other things. And that way we kind of getting ahead. So if there's other areas we ultimately going to have to try to address, we already got ahead of the curve, kind of ahead of it. Would that be helpful if we just did to test all 9 wards?
I would say that, of course, this issue was presented by council and brought to the administration. And previous council discussions, as we talked about it, we realized, or at least it was realized amongst the body, that we had to narrow it down to these specific location because this was the location of complaint. I don't know if, at this point, because it was expanded, it kept expanding the first time I was here. And then eventually somebody said, we had no dollar value as we were expanding, and we had no understanding of a dollar value. So then that's how the order, or the particular council resolution came to be, is that, okay, let's restrict it to this particular location, this particular complaint, see what we can work out, see if we can come to terms with testing in this area, and then maybe it had ramifications for other areas. So that's how it transpired to what it is right now.
So kind of using this just as the pilot.
Yeah, this was going to be, the initial, pilot, if you will, to determine some of what was going on.
But I'm just saying, just far as like a survey, not necessarily saying we finna go in to do the work because it's funding and things like that, and using it still as the pilot, but taking that survey that we're talking about putting together and addressing all 9 wards. So once we get past this and address this issue, if we need to go into the other wards, we're already kind of ahead of the curve of what we need to be looking out for and just going at the dollars and things like that to do it.
I would say, I mean, that's the discussion about the survey. I'm not sure who will be the operators. This sounds like a council aspect, but I'm saying if you're talking about the administration, then we have other issues then we got to consider as part of that process. But if it's something that the council feels like they can work out or orchestrate volunteers or whatever the case may be to be able to do that, we don't have any opposition, to acquiring that kind of information to help make this decision. But that's would be strictly up to the council, how they figure out how to work out this survey business.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Yep. I think it's almost, we needed to have the survey amongst the council, but I think we also need to send it to the Office of Public Health to see if maybe they have some suggestions that we need to add in the survey as well. Then we can also share it with Mr. Dungy to see if maybe there are some questions he would need answered in that survey as well.
They certainly could support that effort, yes.
Is there anyone else who would like the floor? Councilwoman Priestley?
I do like the idea of having to choose which metals we want to test for. We have to do that. And I think the metals that we need to choose are those that are most detrimental to life. The lead is one, because that's obvious for this state, for this city. But I don't know what the others might be, but it's something that we've got to consider as the most detrimental to the residents of the city and concentrate our money there. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like the floor?
Yeah,
Councilwoman.
thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Edwards, so in reaching out to the different companies, how many companies did you say?
3.
3?
Yes.
Did they provide you with a list of things that they do offer and test for?
No.
No? Okay.
I say no because that wasn't the nature of the question. The nature of the inquiry to them was, we need to have services to these
Right.
homes, and we need to test water and so forth, and provide the feedback, to council and to residents. What does that look like and what does it cost? Their next question was, what metals are we, or
Right.
what chemicals are we testing for? What are we looking for?
Okay.
Yep.
So with that, the 3 labs that are around here that he likely spoke to, because I don't know who he spoke to, but I know the labs that he likely spoke to, they can test for any and everything you want tested for, but it becomes a matter of you telling them what specifically you're looking for. And then from there, again, we all have to consider, because we've already said 100 homes. So you have that first metal that costs one thing, and then each metal costs less than the initial, but it's still going to be a cost per metal, and you have to multiply that by 100. Then you're going to have that bacteria. That's going to be its own price that you're going to have to multiply by 100. So when we start listing this out, and I'm not putting a price on life, I'm telling y'all that it's going to cost you.
Very well said, Ms. Jackson.
Is there anyone else who would like the floor?
We're out of time.
We're out of time. Are we done? Are we going to close it out?
Yeah.
We're good with
And
closing?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to
Mhm.
postpone this to the second meeting of February.
Is that going to give him and us enough time? Okay.
That gives us a month.
The second committee meeting in February?
Yes.
There's a motion on the floor to postpone this discussion item until the
Let me check the
second
date.
committee meeting
Let me
in
give you-
February.
Let me give you the exact date.
Okay.
That would be 18th.
Until February 18th. It was moved by the councilwoman in the 4th ward, supported by the councilman in the 1st ward. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Alamy? Dr. Lewis is not in. Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. Priestley?
Yes.
Ms. Winfrey Carter?
Yes.
Ms. Burns is not in. Mr. Schapp?
Yes.
Mr. Pfeiffer is not in. Mr. Jarrett?
Yes.
And vote is 6 yes, 0 no.
Vote is 6 yes, 0 no. This discussion item, thank you very much, City Administrator, has been postponed until February 18th. Moving on to our second special order discussion item, discussion item 260030, which is a discussion item for Consumers Energy Drive Up Payment Center. It was requested by Dr. Lewis, who is absent, concerning Consumers Energy and the closing of the Drive Up Payment Center. We'll go ahead and start this with 15 minutes because we do have representatives from Consumers Energy present. And I believe that the wording in the discussion item, if you could join us at the lectern, please. I believe the wording in the discussion item is as such, as just to inform us about the closing of the Drive Up Center and what that means for residents and how it will be accessible and what are some options. So we'll go ahead and turn it over to our representatives. If you could please introduce yourselves.
Absolutely. Thank you, Raphael Turner. I'm the Community Affairs Manager for Consumers Energy.
And Kyle McCree, Director of Community Affairs, Consumers Energy.
Okay, so first of all, I'd just like to say good evening to the council members of the Flint City Council. Thank you for allowing me and us to be here this evening and speak to you for a few moments about these changes. Again, my name is Raphael Turner. I serve as Community Affairs Manager. I cover Genesee County and Shiawassee County as well. And I wanted to start off by saying that we understand the importance of payment access for our customers, especially in a community like ours. I'm a Flintstone, born and raised in Flint, have been in the area for most of my life and raised my family in this community. So any changes that affect how people pay their bills deserves our explanation, transparency, and care. And I'm happy to be here before you today to give it. I'm here to talk about the recent closure of the drive-through payment window, and I'll add to the payment drop box at our Flint Service Center direct payment office to explain why these changes were made, what we've learned from the data as to how our customers pay, and most importantly, how customers continue to be supported in the Flint area. Across the utility, one note I will start off with, that across the utility industry and really across many business sectors of all kind, direct in-person payment offices are really becoming obsolete when you look at the data as to how people pay. Consumers Energy is actually an outlier in this space. We are the only utility of our scale in the state of Michigan currently, and possibly one of only a handful in the country that still offer any type of direct payment office at all. So just wanted to lift that point. The reason for the shift is not about us walking away from customers, but it's about how customers are choosing to pay. So when we look at our system-wide payments, less than 1% of all customers make payments by coming into a direct payment office. Here in Flint specifically, we have seen a decline of 55% in foot traffic since 2019, and less than 10% of those customers who visit the service center were using the drive-through payment option. These numbers told us that while the service still existed, very few customers were relying on it as their method of payment. I'd like to talk briefly about the drop box, which has been closed, or the drop box for payments, which was removed in May of 2025. Drop box payments often created challenges for our customers. Payments left on a Friday night, for example, might not have been collected or processed until a Monday morning, leading to delays and frustrations for our customers. We also frequently found like cash left in the drop boxes, and sometimes that cash was even separated from the envelopes that they were placed in, which created a real security risk, not only to the payment itself, but also to our customers when they were approaching the drop box to sometimes, again, which we advised against, to put cash in a drop box. Simply put, it was no longer safe or a reliable way to pay. And so again, that drop box was removed with very, very little, if any. I'm the community affairs manager. I've represented this area going on 5 years, and did not receive any direct pushback from the drop box being removed back in May. Now going to the drive-through window, which presents its own sets of challenges. Communication was limited. Customer validation was very difficult, as our employees couldn't hear the customers, but they could not see the customers when it came down to verification of identification for a customer account. By contrast, in our lobby payment, which allows clearer communication, better verification, and more meaningful engagement with our customers. And that is simply the focus of my role, is external customer engagement. And so we really want to have those touch points and meaningful engagements with our customers. But I want to make very clear at this point, walk-in payments are still accepted at the Flint Direct Payment Office, and the facility has been updated in recent years to be fully ADA compliant for those who are coming in to engage with the customer service representative at our direct payment office. Beyond that, customers today have more ways to pay than ever, many of which are faster, safer, and more convenient. And, quite frankly, customers are voting when we collect this data. They're voting with how they choose to pay. And I'll give you a few examples of, what's overtaken, walk-up or direct payment centers or drive-through centers or drop boxes by over 99% of our customers using these other methods. And those methods, that have no fees are by paying online, which is number one, followed by payment directly to Consumers Energy using our automated phone system, our 24/7 phone system. There's no additional fees for those when customers are paying direct. We also have authorized payment agencies. Number one used locally at Walmart, which offers extended hours, including nights and weekends, with real-time payment posting. So when the customer pays at one of our direct authorized payment agency, that payment is posted directly to their payment. Like I said, at Walmart, which is a widely used payment posting method, the only additional fee to that is $1.50 to pay per se at a Walmart. We've also looked at data around for our unbanked or underbanked customers. PayPal allows cash to be loaded at local, convenience areas like a CVS or even a 7-Eleven that can be used to streamline payments. We've also have banking partners who have, warm transfers to live assistance that we're beginning to use. And we started this year in our lobby to have our customer service representatives in our lobby to assist the customers, again, at 1%, to help them move into the digital space of downloading our payment app and also learning about other digital payment options, again, which allows much more engagement with our customers. We still have face-to-face. We have our direct payment center there, but there's also many digital options which customers have been moving to in most recent years. So, what's important for us is not just how customers pay, but how we're able to support them. Moving away from drop boxes, drive-through payments allows us to improve security, apply payments faster, reduce errors, and create more opportunities for education and engagement and meaningful interactions with our customers. So, as I conclude, I would say at Consumers Energy, we are committed to being focused on customer first, to delivering a world-class performance with hometown service, and to making sure Flint customers are not left behind as payment systems continue to evolve. These changes were made with great care, consideration, and long thought and deliberation as we looked forward to and assess the long-term safety and experiences with our customers in mind. So with that, I thank you for this time this evening, and thank you for the continued partnership with the City of Flint.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation. If you would please just stay with us for a second here. Is there anyone who wishes to have the floor during this discussion item?
Madam Chair, I want to thank you
Councilwoman
very
Priestley.
much for all your statistics that you provided us. It's, I know in the past, I used to go up and pay my bill at Consumers, especially when I was going through some hard times. And that was very convenient for me. But I've always had electronic form of method of payments and options, and I've used the Dropbox. I can understand the concerns about the Dropbox in particular, especially with them paying cash through it and being separated. Who knows what payment that goes with? So I appreciate your concerns and your sharing that information with us. Thank you.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, thank you for that. And I just share a quick story. I grew up, our first home was in the Evergreen Valley neighborhood, not too far from where the payment center was. My first interaction with Consumers Energy, before coming to the company years later, was going with my grandmother, right, through the drive up payment center. I mean, I understand the social aspect of customers coming there to convene, seeing neighbors, paying, and that was just the way that it used to be done years ago.
It's hard, I have the opportunity to do some training that could be either virtual or driving up to Bay City and doing it in person. That virtual just doesn't cut it. I prefer in person every time because it's the interaction and it's the relationships that you can develop. So, thank you.
Absolutely. So we understand that customers' affinity to the space, but it's just not being utilized in that way because people are just transitioning to digital methods and other methods of payment that are much more convenient and, get it post directly to the account.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like the floor for this discussion item?
How do we educate our?
Councilwoman in the third
I'm
ward, you
sorry.
have the floor.
Madam Chair. I'm new, I'm sorry. Could you tell me, how do we educate the elderly people that feel that their accounts could be compromised and don't want to transition, or it's hard for them to transition from using technology and putting their payment in and having their accounts linked to Consumer Energy or the payment center? So how do we educate them and get them conformed to now the new technology? Because that's where the problem is probably going to rely on. It's going to rely with the elderly, of people just not wanting to make that transition. So they have to get up and walk, because those are the ones who usually can't walk inside.
Yep.
So what do we do about them?
No, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for answering that question, Councilwoman Johnson. Very insightful. So starting this year, so one of the things I mentioned that we started this year in the new year is that we're having customer service representatives and payment representatives that are there in the lobby. So the building has been made, ADA compliant, so individuals can get in. There's a ramp to get in. But what we're doing with that meaningful customer interaction is that we're actually taking time inside of the direct payment center now to walk our senior customer, all of our customers really, so not just seniors, but when we talk about the 1% that still use a direct payment office, many of them who are seniors and have that familiarity of coming into the space. We have customer service representatives on site that are walking them through that education piece of how to use their cell phones, how to download the app and make sure they can use facial recognition, have a secure ID and password to go in and be able to pay like directly on their phone on the app. Also how to use the website and use the digital tools that are available in a safe manner so that their accounts are protected. And so that service is there. We're going to continue with that. And so because many of the customers who are coming in now, since there's been such a reduction, just in the foot traffic, and again, only 10% of those customers were drive up. So 1 out of 10 were individuals who using the drive through. We're just now having them to come in to give them that education piece so they can transition to safer methods. And so that we plan to continue to do that. And again, most of these customers who come into the physical space to pay are repeat customers. And so we'll have, we're seeing the same customers come in and out over and over again. We know who those customers are, and we're reaching out to them through all formats, not just when they walk up, but through mailing, through outreach, to make sure that, none of our customers are left behind as we transition to different payment options.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like the floor for this discussion item? I will go ahead and take some time.
Okay.
We're gonna run out of
Okay,
time, but
I just got one quick
you can
thing.
go ahead and take that 1 minute so that we can vote on some more time. Go
Okay,
ahead.
okay, sounds good. Yeah, so just really quickly, I brought, 100 copies, can provide more, but for council members, for audience members, I can leave them here with the council. But this is around our affordability piece. So this is our one pager around affordability. These are tips to save during the winter. And then also on the backside of this, I guess a one pager, two-sided. On the backside of this is state emergency relief for new payment assistance programs and what those maximum assistance are for cash assistance to pay bills for 2025 and 2026, and also other methods of bill support that are currently available to our customers. I know we're in a freeze right now in the middle of the heating season. We know that there are vulnerable customers out there that are struggling, and there are some resources where our customers to go to seek assistance and help.
Thank you. I do want to go ahead and take an opportunity to speak. We do have 2
Madam
seconds
Chair,
left.
would you like to
Councilwoman
add another
Kiesler.
5 minutes? Will that be adequate?
Did you tell me to wrap it up in 5? Can I do 7?
Make a motion to add 10 minutes discussion. I know her too well.
She has
That's
no
that's some
faith.
inflation right
I have
there.
no faith in her.
She has no faith in me to be able to wrap it up in 7. There's a motion on the floor to add 10 more minutes. Is there support? Moved and properly supported by the councilman in the first ward. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Dr. Lewis is not in. Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. Priestley?
Yes.
Ms. Winfrey Carter?
Yes.
Ms. Burns is not in. Ms. Mashat?
Yes.
Mr. Pfeiffer is not in. Mr. Jarrett?
Yes.
Mr. Alamin? Yes. The vote is 6 yes, 0 no.
The vote is 6 yes, 0 no. We will add 10 more minutes to this discussion item. I will go ahead and take my time. I'm gonna try to wrap it up in 7 just because. Anyway,
Just to get
I just
me.
have a couple of words for you right now. Infrastructure, education, ability, and access. The reason those words are important is because when we talk about removing that drive-through area there, we talk about the infrastructure and how consumers is set up, right? And so Councilwoman Johnson mentioned if I'm an elderly person, because my mind is fixed, and at this point, I'm not going to necessarily learn all of this other stuff that you're talking about. Great that you're offering it, but the likelihood of me actually being able to apply it is very low. So I'm going to have to walk into that building. And we know that the way that consumers is currently situated, I know you said it's ADA compliant, but we know the way that consumers is currently situated, infrastructurally, is very inconvenient. And so when you speak to closing the drive-through, I do want us to consider those who will be inconvenienced by that infrastructure, where they won't necessarily be safe depending on the conditions to walk up and utilize that infrastructure. Go ahead, I'll take it.
Yeah, no, thank you, Councilwoman, for the question. Certainly, and we didn't talk about it, but the 2 ways that are possible that I think many people pay. One is just the auto pay through your bank account, your debit account. The other one is putting a check in the mail. I've got parents who are in that demographic, and that's what they do. That becomes a challenge if you are running close to your payment due date, right? Then the mail doesn't become as much of an option because you run into postal service issues, right? But for some of those folks who are set in their, we had to convince my father. I think I was at the utility for 5 years before I got him to get a smart thermostat. And it was only when the old dial one broke, right, that he eventually got a programmable thermostat, right? So we definitely have those customers. I will say on that point, our marketing team, we do customer segmentation. We recognize that our 6.6 million customers are not uniform or not monolithic, and we break them out into different segments. And one of them, there's a marketing term they have for it, but it is your, senior citizen population that want to stay warm, that want a predictable bill, and are used to the way that things were, don't necessarily want to change much. And so that's a different marketing segment than a Gen X, a millennial, a Gen Z customer who is looking for those changes.
And I am happy that you brought up the fact that we're not monolithic, because it takes me to my next infrastructure point, right? We do also understand that all infrastructure is not created equally. When we talk infrastructure, we also mean broadband and internet access. And so when we start talking about people being able to pay online or use certain methods that require internet access or adequate internet access. We do know that Flint is one of those areas where infrastructurally our internet access is not up to par with some of the other places. And so when you look at people who may not have access to the internet to pay their bills, and I know a lot of times people think, well, you know, people do a lot of things on their phone. Again, that leads me back to the word ability, right? Because some older people might not have the ability to do anything other than dial. Most of them might not even want that smartphone. Excuse me, seniors. I did not mean to say old people. Seniors may not have the ability to do anything or care to learn anything beyond, you know, using their phone just to dial out a number, because most people are being forced into smart technology when they probably would have preferred their flip phone. And so the reason I am really zeroing in on this is because, again, like you said, we're not monolithic, but it sounds like we're doing a little box cutting here, right? So we're saying this is what we do in this city for consumers, so this is what we need to do here in Flint. So recognizing again that we're not monolithic, I would ask that we revisit how we are choosing to service the Flint area. I do see what you kept doing there with that 1%, and I can appreciate that, but that is 1% that would probably be a big loss, because we know the aging population right now would be our boomers, and we know there were a lot of those. That's why they had the term boomers, right? And so as they're getting older and some of this technology, again, they may not have the patience nor the desire to understand in that way. I know we also talked about the fact that people can pay their bills in other places, but we do see every year that utility companies are asking to be able to increase rates. And so while we can say only $1.50 for some of us, it might be only $1.50, but for other people, that $1.50 was to go toward that $200 bill. And we can also look at the fact that and this is a personal opinion of my own, I don't think that people should have to pay you to pay their bill. They're paying their bill, and that should be enough. There shouldn't be a charge. And so when you have to go other places like Walmart or stores, there is a charge for them to pay their bill, and they're simply just trying to pay their bill and be good stewards and do that on time. We also know that when it comes to some of the programs that you have, I believe people can only get paid up to a certain amount. So if I've already had my bill paid once or twice, and I'm no longer qualified for that specific program anymore, and I might be running late on any payment arrangement that I had, that $1.50 means the world to me. And so having that access to that drive-through for that $1.50 could be the difference between my lights being on and me sitting in complete darkness. And so I just want us to make sure that we're being cognizant of that. And then I think another thing you said of not being able to properly identify, we do know that with technology, there are all kinds of things that you can hack, and there are AI and other things that you can do to manipulate facial recognition software, fingerprints. There are all kinds of manipulative things that can happen as far as we talk about AI and all of this smart technology. And so nothing will replace, just being able to old-fashioned do it and come and drive up. I will offer a caveat though, because I see your face. I was thinking that maybe you could all invest with some of those rate hikes y'all keep asking for, so maybe some cameras so you can look, like how they have at the bank, so you can see the person face to face as they drive up. I think that could help with your facial recognition problem. But if that is not an option, I noticed you named a couple of places where people could go and take care of their bills. One of the places that you can take care of a bill here in the city of Flint is the Clio Road drive-through station. They can still drive through there. Have you all thought about maybe partnering with the city of Flint to take consumer payments at that drive-through station?
We have. I'm going to deal with a couple of issues mentioned also. We only have, I think, 7 in-person payment offices across our service territories. After I mentioned, that's becoming very rare. When you look at our rural customers, most of them are not in the city of Flint. Most of them are actually in rural Michigan. They've never been near a payment center ever. They live in a more remote area. So we do think about those issues. I also see,
and they definitely have poor access to infrastructure when we talk about broadband.
Yeah, I also see a council member wearing a work shirt. I think it is from a place where I'm a former employee years ago under a different name. And the drive-through where I used to go and bank at is no longer a physical drive-through. There's an automated, machine thing, and then you can go inside. Right? It's not the tube. That infrastructure style is just going away. It's very expensive infrastructure to maintain. But now on the Clio Road side, I will say that our fees that are charged, whether it's for credit card use or if it's at a third-party payment site, are not fees that we collect, that we keep. Those are for the payment processing. It's a straight pass-through. We have had discussions with the administration. Actually, was speaking with administration today. We're exploring what's possible. We've run into the fee as an issue. If someone else is taking the payment, there's a fee. We don't want there to be a fee. The city doesn't want there to be a fee, but that's the reality of our third-party payment system. We continue to be in conversations on what may be possible in Cloud Road. We haven't, we're trying to turn over every stone to think creatively of what's possible.
So then you are in discussions with there being a possibility for residents to still have access to some sort of drive-through mechanism, even if it has to be the Clio Road station.
We're seeing
it's a
if that's
possibility.
Yeah, we haven't said final no yet.
For sure.
We've run into roadblocks that involve that fee.
Mhm.
And as a cost of service company, we can't absorb that fee because that really becomes ratepayers across Michigan absorbing that fee,
Mhm.
which isn't equitable when it's only for, obviously the Cloud Road Payment Center. It's not a statewide.
I love you
system.
both, right? But I'm going to say it. Y'all ask, not you two specifically, but the company asks for enough rate hikes every year that I think you can absorb a fee. But that's a personal opinion. But I am happy to hear that the Clio Road discussion is happening, because that will give people an option to be able to still stay in their cars. And so I do hope that those talks work out. I want to reiterate for everybody that didn't hear, we're not saying that it's happening.
No.
They're saying they are considering. I do thank you both for coming. Judy was correct, and I hate when Judy is right. I tried. But thank you both for coming and providing an explanation and listening to us and taking just a little bit of temperature. But, at the end of the day, the infrastructure, education, ability, and access is always going to be important for me as far as Flint residents. Love hearing about rural areas. I serve in another capacity in which I am concerned about that, but in this specific capacity, I just want to make sure that Flint residents have all the access they need in the ways that they need it. So thank you.
Yep. We will leave copies of these flyers in the back, and then I know we have at least one email address. If we can get it to one council person, if you could get it to your colleagues, or get it to
Davina. Can send it
Okay.
to all of us.
Yeah, we'll get it to Davina, and that way you can use it in your electronic newsletters or communications as well. We appreciate that.
JPEGs are great.
Yep. Thank you both so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Facebook doesn't like PDFs.
Okay. JPEG and PDF. Okay, maybe in the morning then we get it to her. Thanks.
All right, thank you. We are officially closing out that discussion item. Moving on to the consent agenda.
Madam Chair,
Councilwoman Priestley.
make a motion to send the consent agenda to council.
There's a motion to send the consent agenda to council. Is there support? Moved and properly supported by the councilman in the first ward. Are there any separations? Seeing as how there are no separations, this is the roll call vote to send the consent agenda to council. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Ms. Priestley,
Yes.
Ms. Winfrey Carter,
Yes.
Ms. Burns is absent. Ms. Mashat,
Yes.
Mr. Pfeiffer is absent. Mr. Jarrett,
Yes.
Mr. Alamin. Dr. Lewis is absent. The vote is 6 yes, 0 no.
The vote is 6 yes, 0 no. The consent agenda has been sent to council.
Motion to adjourn.
There's a motion to adjourn by Councilwoman Priestley. Is there support? Supported by Councilman El Alamin. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Priestley,
Yes.
Ms. Winfrey Carter,
Yes.
Ms. Burns is absent. Ms. Mashat,
Yes.
Mr. Pfeiffer is absent. Mr. Jarrett,
Yes.
Mr. Alamin. Dr. Lewis is absent. Ms. Johnson.
Yes.
The vote is 6 yes, 0 no.
The vote is 6 yes, 0 no. The time is 7:50 p.m. Wednesday, January 21st. I hereby adjourn this Government Operations Committee meeting. Is there anyone who needs to fill out a speaker slip for our next meeting? Is he filling out a slip or is he leaving? Oh.
Maybe just send it.
All right, Madam Clerk, we'll go ahead and start, seeing as how there is no one who wants to fill out a speaker slip. The time is now 7:51 p.m. on Wednesday, January 21st. I hereby call this legislative committee meeting to order. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Alamin? Dr. Lewis is not in. Ms. Johnson?
Present.
Ms. Priestley?
Present.
Ms. Winfrey Carter?
Present.
Ms. Burns is not in. Ms. Mashat?
Present.
Mr. Pfeiffer is not in. Mr. Jarrett?
Present.
You have 6 members present.
We have 6 members present. It is now time for the reading of the disorderly person city code subsection. Any person that persists in disrupting this meeting will be in violation of Flint City Code Section 31-10, disorderly conduct, assault, and battery, and disorderly persons, and will be subject to arrest for a misdemeanor. Any person who prevents the peaceful and orderly conduct of any meeting will be given 1 warning. If they persist in disrupting the meeting, that individual will be subject to arrest. Violators will be removed from the meetings. Are there any requests for agenda changes and/or additions? Seeing as how there are no requests for agenda changes and/or additions, it is now time for public comment. Members of the public who wish to address the city council or its committees must register before the meeting begins. A box was placed at the entrance to the city council chambers for collection of registrations. No additional speakers or slips will be accepted after the meeting begins. A member of the public shall have no more than 3 minutes per speaker during public comment, with only 1 speaking opportunity per speaker. First public speaker, Madam Clerk.
First speaker is R.L. Mitchell.
Hello, I'm R.L. Mitchell. For the record, I'm the last of the baby boomers in Flint. And what them consumer power people said, talking about you pay a fee to come up through they tore the box down, but I ain't never had opportunity to pay my own bills until people, like I said, they don't have to worry about paying your bill, so we'll pay it for you, out of your check, out of your situation. But on last week, on Martin Luther King Day, I decided to go to McCree Theater to watch Tupac, instead of going down to the library to watch the people do their drummer stuff and talk about, King. I went to get off the bus right in front of the dollar store. Supposed to be at 2 o'clock. I decided to take a little time to go to buy some little fiddles at the dollar store and walk across the little swamp, and I heard some ice cracking under my feet. I think the water is about 6 feet deep. I almost went in the thing, little swamp right there, but I made it across. I ran some kind or another. And I went over to the theater, and then I sat on the porch, and the security guy came out. I guess he didn't see me. Got up in the car and took off. The people sitting in their cars, I thought the door was open, it was locked. I'm sitting there freezing, talking about consumer powers. I walked, and I started to go over there and catch the bus. But when I got around the bend, I seen everybody at this drive-through thing. I was finna go in there and get warm, but I see about 4 tie-hole policemen. There probably was 2 of them dudes were back there beating up darkies, and I didn't go in the thing because I was over there at the bus stop and with bullet holes right beside the bedroom window where they had a gunfight and killed the baby in the bed. And the bus came, and I got on the bus and said, "Sir, this is cross-country bus. You better get off. You going downtown?" And then I started to take it out, go in there in that office and get warm. And then the police checked me. I don't know what I was trying, how I retaliate with them, how they did Woodson in here. I'm always standing around, never being involved when they supposed to fight. Like I was at Southwestern High School when they told me to stump the cop. I was gonna get his gun and blow it up, but I think that's what they wanted me to do. I'm supposed to be an athlete and all that stuff, like my friend in jail over there across the street now. He's a coach, Monstella's Children's. And the dude that Jim Jones talking about trying to get my other friend, Ernie Wingate, to represent, and then I said, "Won't you order some money and get him out and pay his bond, to get him out." They can't thinking they got little coaches, these little kids, they ain't coaching it. You just like the most super power man talking about pay fees when I go and pay for their grandmama and after the terrorists and stuff. All this junk in Flint, give me my money, you stick. You say something, Ms. Priestley.
Thank you. Next public speaker, Madam Clerk. I really thought you were about to do a cartwheel. Next public speaker, Madam Clerk.
Next speaker is Dion Freeman. Okay, and I believe Mari Copney has left.
Yep.
That was the only speaker for this meeting.
She done.
Okay, perfect. So then that was our final public speaker. It's now time for council response. Council members may respond once to all public speakers. Only after all public speakers have spoken, an individual council member's response shall be limited to 2 minutes. Is there anyone who would like to speak during council response? All right, seeing as how there's no one who would like to speak during council response, really quickly, I do want to remind everyone, the next 2 days, we are going to be at -11 degrees at night, and so if you can get somewhere warm, please get somewhere warm. Please bring your animals, your pets, your cats, your dogs, whatever animal you may have outside. Make sure that you are bringing them inside the home as well, so we do not have any unfortunate casualties as relates to either human or animals. That is my time. We will move on to the consent agenda.
Madam Chair,
Councilwoman in the 4th Ward.
make a motion to send the consent agenda to council.
There's a motion to send the consent agenda to council by the councilwoman in the 4th Ward, properly supported by the councilman in the 1st Ward. Are there separations? Seeing as how there are no separations, we'll go ahead and vote to send the consent agenda to council. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Alamin? Dr. Lewis is not in. Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. Priestley?
Yes.
Ms. Winfrey Carter?
Yes.
Ms. Burns? He is not in. Ms. Mashat?
Yes.
Mr. Pfeiffer is not in. Mr. Jarrett?
Yes.
The vote is 6 yes, 0 no.
The vote is 6 yes, 0 no. The consent agenda moves to council.
Motion to adjourn.
There's a motion to adjourn by the councilwoman in the 4th Ward. Is there support? Supported by the councilman in the 1st Ward. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Dr. Lewis is not in. Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. Priestley?
Yes.
Ms. Winfrey Carter?
Yes.
Ms. Burns is not in. Ms. Mashat?
Yes.
Mr. Pfeiffer is not in. Mr. Jarrett?
Yes.
Mr. Alamin? Vote is 6 yes, 0 no.
The vote is 6 yes, 0 no. The time is 7:58 p.m. on Wednesday, January 21st. I hereby adjourn this legislative committee meeting.
Yay.